Okay. Hey everybody, welcome back to the Lampcast Podcast, episode 4, which is being recorded before 3 and 2 come out, but after 1 comes out. Um, we're
It's like
here,
a
yeah, we're here to talk about Uncle Adams and the idea of pursuing fame in the modern music industry, um, kind of the complexes people can develop, and the idea of throwing money at something until you have talent. Christian, take away the history of Uncle Adams.
so Uncle Adams is a Saskatchewan Canadian rapper who made his rounds in his youth, battle rapping with his peers, and eventually developed a repertoire for these sorts of things. Um, Uncle Adams then had a change of heart, like an awakening. The narrative that Uncle Adams would give you was that um, battle rapping was too negative. Um, it was too like it was not as constructive as he would have liked, and he needed a change. But I think we'll get into the real reasons as to why he stopped battle rapping in a little bit. Anyway, Uncle Adams found his way into like the zeitgeist of the internet when his video for his song original started making the rounds on the internet. Um, and
This was around 2 years ago, right?
This was 2016. Yes.
It became a meme very quickly.
Yeah. Uncle Adams and almost immediately got his 15 minutes of fame in Death Grip's trash posting, because of the horrible cheesy electro swing beat, the cringy lyrics, and just all around being a pretty tone deaf dude. I mean, like, if you listen to it, it's like it tries to hop on every single trend, but it fails to accurately capture anything, which I guess is kind of original in its own right. And anyway, so Uncle Adams developed a cult following on Facebook in the Uncle Adams original posting group,
Which has 18,000 subscribers right now. Or 18,000 members.
Yeah, more than that now.
No, it has 18,000 members, I just checked.
Really? It's still... Oh, never mind. So, anyway, I lost my train of thought. Anyway, Uncle Adams, fucking, like, he just becomes kind of a joke in this group. The group goes dormant for a while because, honestly, like, how do you keep a joke about, like, a shitty rapper, going for like, for longer than it necessitates?
Especially because the only joke was really that they asked him to have sex with their wives.
Yeah, which is hilarious.
Oh,
it was
no, that was
really,
the funniest
really
thing.
funny.
Yeah.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but he didn't stop posting entirely, but his channel did slow, and it was more so motivational videos, right?
Not necessarily. He kind of took a break, but it was more so like he was just kind of, he wasn't posting any music videos or anything. It wasn't really anything that you could market, or make a joke out of. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It was a bunch of like lyrics videos and stuff, and like a bunch of like jokes in the group kind of got out of the headspace of Uncle Adams. They kind of just became more about like people in the group and stuff, which was fun. It was a nice little self-contained community.
It still is a really, really fun group.
Yeah, no, I love that group to death, even if Uncle Adams doesn't. Anyway, about a month ago, this is from my perspective. This is my tale. I was living with my grandmother for like a little while. My family was on vacation, and my grandma had like bad empty nest syndrome since my aunt left the house. So I was like, I'm gonna stay with my grandma. Anyway, I get into bed. Grandma, like, fucking, the whole 9 yards, tucks me in, like, having a good, like, grandma having a great time at grandma's house. I'm in pajamas for like the first time in a couple of weeks, and I look at my phone. I'm gonna watch some YouTube videos before I go to bed. I see the Uncle Adams YouTube channel has 9 recent uploads, and it's called the LAM series, which stands for at least a million just named after his song "At Least a Million," which depicts Uncle Adams. You can saying that you can feel like $1 million even if you got a couple bucks in the bank, man.
I think that's the worst hook of all time.
Anyway, Uncle Adams. In this series, I watched it, and the first episode is titled "Uncle Adams." At least $1 million, negative $164,000. and I said, oh my god, he actually did it. And he opens up the video. He has like 3/4 of the screen is just head space. His head is only in the last third, and he comes out immediately and he says, I am $164,000 in debt, and he explains how he quit his day job as a heavy machine operator, making $30 an hour to make motivational rap, and try to make it big in the music industry. Throughout this series, so he starts off $64,000 in debt, which is $164,000 in debt, which is awesome. That's a
lot of money.
That's literally like I could go to school for a very long time with the amount of debt that Uncle Adams has accumulated.
You could go to college and then law school in a lot of cases.
Yeah. Anyway, Uncle Adams by the end of the series sells his car, admits that he does not have ownership of his house, buys a new car, takes out a $20,000 loan, has to sell that, and then by the end of the series, of long convoluted events, the man debt has ballooned from negative $164,000 to $227,000. And all of his bills are past due. He's getting called from creditors frequently, as you can imagine. And this was all out there. He posted it all out there.
He told the entire world everything.
And from here, it kind of goes into the territory of mythology, like the event where he called Anthony Fantano the needle dick, or when Anthony Fantano buried the hatchet with him.
Ethan, I see you listening to At Least a Million.
Oh yeah, I just put it on.
That's not very pertinent to the conversation that I would like to have about what it takes to be famous, or at least to have success in the music industry,
or at least to just make art you're satisfied with.
Yeah. So anyway, that's about it for Uncle Adams. That's the important stuff.
All right.
To know.
Can I give my take on this?
Yes, go ahead, Ryan. Ryan. I think we should prefix it by saying that Ryan, out of all of us, has probably the most knowledge of how the music industry works.
Yeah, most.
I mean, I've taken 2 intro classes. To be fair, my knowledge is surface level.
I've learned is from reading, how to succeed in the music.
Yeah.
business.
So, first of all, I think the scheme that he has, where he wants to sell the TVs that he bought for $10,000 for $7,000 is
so funny.
It's like some Scooby-Doo.
What was that scheme?
He had a card for Best Buy, I think, and
he took out at this point Uncle Adams cannot feasibly make any take out any loans from a place other than, so he takes out a company card from Best Buy, and he buys
maxes it out. He maxes it out in flat screen TVs.
And he buys 7 flat screen TVs, putting himself $7,000 in debt to sell them off at a cheaper price to just make some cash.
Yeah.
So the man just willingly put himself in $7,000 more debt for no apparent reason.
Just to have cash on hand.
The equivalent of shooting. Yeah. He just shot himself in the fucking foot.
There's a lot of steps in that process he had to take too, and there wasn't one where he said, "Hey, maybe I should do something else with this."
Well, Harry, you remember the famous Uncle Adams lyric? He will never stop. He doesn't know how to. Probably the most self-aware commentary that Uncle Adams has ever done on himself.
I also liked the quote he had in the song that he, I guess, reissued yesterday or whatever, where he said, sorry, I have it written down here somewhere. They say the sky's the limit. Nah, the mind's the limit, and I can fly in mine.
Yeah.
And like that's his
Yeah.
problem in a nutshell. Like he has this
Yeah.
such this conflated view of himself. But anyway, I thought that was some Scooby Doo shit and his TV plan. But I think he's like really misguided, and I think he has like this sort of, I don't know, not Cinderella story-esque idea, but like, you know what I'm getting at, of like the
Yeah,
guy who
yeah.
quits his job and he puts it all on the line, and
He wants his 8 Mile.
yeah, he wants a glory
Exactly.
story, and it
It
doesn't.
reminds me of that pup lyric. They say, "Don't quit your day job." Well, guess what? I never had one. Uncle Adams had a day job, and he quit his day job for no good reason.
Yeah,
A $30 an hour day job.
Like, come
Let
on.
that not be forgotten.
Like he's probably got a union job too.
yeah, definitely. If you're working with heavy
Yeah, it's
machinery,
Canadian.
well, and if you're working with heavy machinery,
Yeah.
Dude, he gets
So-
to play with backhoes all day. Like, come on.
I think that's just like so incredibly misguided, and the idea that like I
You're
don't
kind
know,
of writing your own story.
yeah, and
Yeah.
even like Ninja was on CNBC the other day, and
Like Diane Ninja?
no, Ninja
No,
the
Ninja.
video game
Fortnite
streamer,
streamer.
and even
The guy that
he
everyone
was
watches
like,
in class for some fucking reason.
well, and like music is obviously not video game streaming, but even they were like, hey, what advice do you have to people who like want to be famous? And he said, when I started this, I was in college and I also had a day job while I was doing this, and like that's the only way to do it. Like I have a college degree, so if this ever falls through, you know what I mean? I am
Yeah.
I am a man who can go out and get a job tomorrow, and I think that's the most important way to look at the world for sure. But Uncle Adams has this fairy tale in his head that he needs to be the guy who put it all on the line, rather than
Well, I think he sees
making-
himself as a Christ figure of sorts, where he
Yeah.
Yeah, he
in
certainly
hip hop
does.
he is the sort of moral high ground that others should be following, and that he can do no wrong, and that everyone should love him because of that.
yeah. And I mean that's just incredibly misguided. I think that's a pretty like flat and out issue. Is like, hey, keep your day job until you're successful, and like don't throw money at things you don't have.
Don't get $2 billion in debt
And
before
even if-
you start making money.
Yeah, and even if you only want to do the music industry, get like an applicable job in the music industry. Uncommon NASA started by miking drums in studios at the age of 16. Like get into live sound, go to school and get into a management position or an A&R position. Have a career. If you're saying music is the only thing I can do, then get an education and have a career in it. Christian is going to school
Yeah.
for music education while he writes music. Like, think about it.
So can I kind of address something that I was curious to have your opinion on?
Yeah.
Just all of you.
Yeah.
I think obviously Uncle Adams is a meme. That is
Right.
kind of he is known for his virality, right? Do you think it's kind of weird or odd or maybe just wrong that he's been thrust upon this pedestal and he just doesn't understand the true meaning as why, and it's almost like these people are fueling his delusion by just acknowledging him? I know some of them are trying to give him actual advice, but
Yeah,
is
and
the
he gets
attention
pissed at those
damaging?
guys is the things. I do think it is. I think he's like the kid, and I was gonna get into that kind of later, but like I think he's the kid in like elementary school who at the party won't just shut up. Like at the kid's birthday party, just won't shut up because he needs to be the center of attention all the time.
Yeah.
And
Oh, we should talk about the thing that happened with him and Anthony Fantano.
we
already
did.
Oh,
Well, that's also. I don't want to talk about that because that's
think
not
there's more
very.
pertinent.
That's
Yeah,
not.
you're
That's
right,
not
you're
pertinent to. That's not pertinent to like the idea of him brute forcing his way into the music.
I
industry.
mean, but that would be a good example of his character and why
yeah,
he's
but
the
we,
way he
Yeah.
yeah,
is.
we already.
Um.
Anyway, so
So I think he's the type of person who thrives off of attention, no matter what that attention is like. And And I do think that the more people pay attention to him in this kind of like ironic pedestal kind of way, the more you kind of feed into his delusions of grandeur and stuff, and
Yeah.
and the less he'll learn.
Well, I think he can. He's a human being. He can tell the difference between good and bad and right and wrong.
Well, he can,
So-
but in his mind,
so I think when
his
he-
version of right and wrong are very different than mine and yours. You know.
You're right,
Also,
you're right.
like Uncle Adams is the incredible thing about Uncle Adams is that Uncle Adams is someone who has been noticed by everybody in the music industry that he should have, and he
Yeah.
is still, and
Yeah.
nobody's picked up on him.
Yep.
So what
That's
does
a really
that
good point.
say? Like if that happened, when that happens to me, like you know what I mean? Like I won't be like defending my I won't be like, wow, they just don't understand. I'll still like always understand what I'm trying to do, and I'll never discount the possibility that someone could eventually find like solace or enrichment from like the art I was trying to make. But that being said, that like I'm not gonna do that again. I'm not gonna like especially if my life is on the line like his is,
Right.
If it's one thing where I make the music I make right now, and like it's not very like I'm not expecting to get picked up by anybody. This is a personal thing for me. It's different for Uncle Adams, where the sole purpose of his endeavors is to get fame and profit and etc.
Yeah.
That's the incredible thing about Uncle Adams. Uncle Adams has had every opportunity to make the right decisions, and he has always made the wrong decisions.
Yeah, and you
So,
don't necessarily
let
have to be
this-
embraced by critics. Like,
No, totally not. No.
yeah, like, but if the original video had blown up and then people had been like, yes, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Then
But
he would
nobody
have.
said yes.
No, yeah, he would have had the green light to keep going, but like, he
didn't.
He got this massive exposure, and everybody said, "Hey, how about not that?" And
Mm-hmm.
and instead he just said, "No, I'm right," and he kept
And
going.
he kept doing it.
Yeah, I
just
really
stuck
do
with
think.
it.
Yeah, I really do think he's a person who has like a diluted sense of self importance, I guess. But
No, yeah, he sees himself as a Christ figure.
yeah,
He's very big in his head.
I think it goes to show how important self-awareness is in any industry or in any kind of artistic
In any
sense.
medium.
absolutely.
It's just, it can go really far. I think what this whole thing comes down to is that money can't buy taste.
Money can't buy taste or experience,
Yeah.
because that's
there's
that was
our
like my
thesis
big
statement.
point, is that like a lot of people will say like, oh, if I just had Pro Tools, like my mix would sound good or something, and it's
Yeah,
like,
if I just had a good camera, I'd take good photos, you know?
right, and it's like you can get good on something that's limited before you hop up to the big thing, and and it's
Obviously, you
just as
can do
valid.
more with the more expensive things.
Absolutely, you have.
But you need to have this core foundation of like skills and ability and like you know what I mean?
right, and like
Well, I
yeah,
think
that's
one
what I'm
thing
saying.
that's-
Like, if you don't know shit about mixing your song or producing your song, throwing yourself into a studio session like Uncle Adams does with all the money he has, is not going to make it sound good. Because
Yeah.
just because you have all these tools at your disposal doesn't mean you know how to use them or know how to, make them work to your benefit. And that was kind of what Christian said, where he said original is both the most overproduced and like awfully produced song he's ever heard, is because he just puts all this money into his projects to give it like this professional sheen, but he doesn't know how to use the
But it's just
professional
bloated.
sheen. Yeah, it's interesting. Like he doesn't just ever think to scale back his operation and get good on a smaller scale before stepping it up. Like Mad Villainy was recorded in the shittiest of conditions, and like
Yeah, on like a 2002 Dell computer with a sampler. Like,
yeah, like
Ryan,
it-
I'm with you on this one. I think Seth Everman said once that restrictions breed creativity. And
Is that
af-
bald guy?
Yeah, that's the funny bald man who talks about the weird chords. But anyways, it's like any band. Like a good example of that would be Car Seat Headrest.
Mhm.
This guy,
Yeah.
he had nothing, and he was recording music in his car.
Yeah,
And
Yeah, really.
eventually, he
Any
got
lo-fi
big
band or like low-budget movie, they turn their limitations into something that makes their art unique.
And
And
you
Uncle
don't-
look
Adams
at the
didn't
freaking Blair
understand
Witch
that.
Project.
you don't have to have nothing, is what I'm saying. Like,
Exactly.
no, that's what I want to say. Like, Uncle Adams doesn't have to throw $200,000 at it for it to sound good. He also doesn't have to record with nothing. Like, you can have a decent mic set up for $500, and then, say you do really want Pro Tools, that's like $1,000, and then like, you want whatever. Like, say you have a $2,000 budget for your record, you can still make like a really good sounding record on $2,000.
Most
And
definitely.
Also, oh, sorry, keep going, Ryan.
And so what I'm just saying is, like, you don't need to be in a studio to sound like that. And I think that he has this conception where, like, the more money he throws at it, the better he'll sound. And that's not going to happen until he goes back and he revises his style and he learns how to, pick out better beats or make better beats.
Mm-hmm.
And because like, people learned that he was a sucker, and part of the at least a million narrative is that, like, he pays a lot of money for beats, like more money than he should. And I don't know, he just, like, you need to step back. Some people need to step back and learn. So
I would like to talk about how belittling his idea of, like, working hard is.
Yeah.
yeah.
Uncle Adams did not believe that he could pursue his rap career and work an actual job at the same time, because he thought it was like it would be somehow compromising what he was doing. But that's just fiscally and, like, just responsible on all levels, because Uncle Adams has people that he cares about that the debt will eventually be passed down to, because he couldn't like fucking find it within him to do both at the same time.
A side question: does Uncle Adams have any kids?
No, he doesn't.
he
He
has
has
a
a
girlfriend.
girlfriend.
There was a very mean-spirited joke after the first round of At Least a Millions came out. That was kind of funny, though. That was the "I'll just sell your girlfriend stuff now, Uncle." Then you'll
Yeah.
make it. Because he was like talking about all
Uncle,
the shit that he sold. Sorry.
like, I just don't understand why he has this belittling, like, attitude towards, like, the proletariat. You know what I mean? Like, why does he feel like blue collar workers are wasting their jobs when they're supporting their families and not being dumbasses? Why does he belittle, like, artists who still make music and make more fucking music than he has? Because look at it this way: Uncle Adams has been making music since, like, under this moniker. He has 3 records out over the course of fucking 5 years. Do you realize how much more music people put out without, like, going into this amount of debt?
Who
It's,
work,
it's
too.
very clear. Exactly.
Because he's not making.
It's-
he's not mixing any of this.
He's not
buys
not
a
mixing
beat,
anything.
Goes into some, like, low budget studio that's obviously, like, taking his money because
Yeah.
they understand how gullible he is. And
Yeah.
then he's, like, dropping a couple cheesy bars.
And then there's
You know?
Also-
there's the At Least a Million episode where he's like, "I'm hiring the best producer in the area," but his area is fuck nowhere, Canada.
Yeah.
And,
Uncle Adams has this mentality that he works very hard. And that is by far the most pathetic and laughable thing that I have heard from this story, because Uncle Adams hasn't fucking learned to do anything. He's been rapping he's been in this career since 2013. And what skills does he have? What fucking what actual taxing work has he done other than spend money? Other than just write checks and just look the other way while he just fucking mentally vomits onto a page and records it over, like, a shitty overproduced beat with a producer that doesn't actually give that has given him advice before that he blatantly ignores. What has he actually learned from this experience? Absolutely nothing. He has not learned how to produce his own beats. He hasn't learned how to, like, fucking play an instrument or something. He hasn't gotten better as a lyricist. He has not done anything.
Yeah.
That's the worst part, is that Uncle Adams has this narrative that he is that he's just grinding harder than everyone else. The reason that you haven't succeeded is because you don't give a shit. But Uncle Adams has actually not done anything. Uncle Adams has sat on his ass for 5 years.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, some people just, they want, yeah, I guess it just comes back to people want stuff without working for it. And,
that was what I wanted to get out earlier. Yeah. You know, like, it's insulting to people that are working with less resources than you, and obviously it's not like people like that are working with less resources should give a shit what Uncle Adams says, because he's the epitome of what we shouldn't be doing.
Yeah.
But like, just because you're recording with equipment that, just because you're not spending like ass loads of money doesn't mean you don't care. It means, like, if anything, it means that you care more because you're willing to put up with like subpar equipment to do what you love, or like instead of just trying to make shit that will make you famous.
Yeah, he's just someone who's going at it all wrong, and
Yep.
And he still
It's
is
pretty much a step-by-step guide of what not to do.
Yeah, and he thinks he's
That's why I'm grateful for it, honestly.
and he like, I think he thinks he's buried the hatchet and like moved on, but he still is doing the wrong thing. Like trying to sell the hat on eBay for $10,000 is not a good approach. And tweeting PewDiePie constantly to get him to buy it is not going to work.
Or just the fact that he's just like, hey, I'm trying to get the most retweets in the,
Yeah.
the world. Like, what? Like, do you think that people will listen to your music if you get the most retweets in the world? Like,
well, and he tweeted that tweet
change...
at Twitter. At Twitter, trying to get the most retweets ever. It has like 100. I don't know. It's just, it's very misguided, and I don't know. There's cheap ways to do everything. There's cheap ways to market yourself.
Yeah, that's something I wanted to get your opinion on, Ryan, because like I think his way of marketing is paying for this soulless and over what I'm assuming was probably a very expensive video, and then like doing those silly tweets and making his own like Facebook things.
Yeah, I mean Facebook ad campaigns are pretty.
Oh yeah, never mind.
Facebook ad campaigns are pretty cost effective, and they make a lot of sense for a lot of bands.
Yeah, we're gonna,
because you just plug in a certain amount of money to it, and they stop running your ad after a certain amount of people click on the advertisement, not after a certain amount of people see it. It's just after a certain amount of people click on it, and that, like, it's not a bad way to start like building hype for yourself by launching a Facebook ad campaign, but there's better ways to do it.
Since he has gotten a little bit of traction though, what could he have done, you think? Because he really did not do anything with his 15 minutes of fame.
No, I think he could have. I mean, I think if you're Uncle Adams, like, I think, you know, some people have a song that blows up and there's other things that they should do, but I think if you're Uncle Adams, like, he should have just accepted the meme status and kind of rode with that. But I mean, like, the average musician who's not a joke, like, you start local and you play live until everybody, like, you know, people in town know who you are. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Live shows are still the best way for a young band to build traction. And like, I mean, this is kind of a smaller detail, but they talked about this. And I thought it was really interesting that if you build a core fan base of high school students, they will all go off to college in a couple years and plant seeds of being fans of you in other places.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
Well, he did that with middle schoolers, didn't he?
Oh yeah.
well, that's the thing though, is that was Uncle Adams. Uncle Adams was not playing live, like, anywhere.
But live is the best way to build a like.
Other than that, and Uncle Adams is got blacklisted from doing those shows because one school was like, Uncle Adams, please do not talk about suicide, and he still talked about suicide and rapped about suicide and got kicked off.
Wait, guys, I've got a question. That just reminded me of something. A middle school comment. Did Alan Sean Feinstein ever come to your middle school?
No idea who that is.
No. Is that the like the Bible toting guy?
Yes, that's exactly who it is.
No, because I didn't go to like a Catholic.
Oh yeah, right.
I did. That was not me.
Well, did you guys ever have anyone like Uncle Adams-esque or anything like that who came to your high school to tell you some stuff?
Oh yeah,
We
yeah. I
had
think
we had a
everyone
group
has.
come to rap about the history of New Bedford once.
Oh, that was awesome.
I remember you telling me about that.
And then one of our friends got up and rapped.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, but no.
Oh, he's a friend of the show.
Shout out to Misha.
Oh, Misha's been on the show. What am I
Yeah.
saying?
Um,
Yeah, he got up and rapped. It was
Yeah,
great.
Misha got up and rapped. Yeah, but like regular people who build followings, they build an online presence through social media, and they make a website, which Christian and I have not done for Christian yet.
Well, I mean that's okay.
Yeah.
Like,
Um,
like I'm not putting myself in debt by the second.
Right. No, like a website costs like $2 to $20 a year for a domain name.
Christian Camaro, $200,000 in debt.
Yeah.
I'll see you guys in the next life.
I mean, you know.
Hey Christian, want to go to Best Buy and buy some TVs?
Yeah. Sounds great.
Yeah, I don't know. You play shows. A lot of artists, like when they're smaller and they're starting to branch out, they'll like do personal things for fans, like to get into shows. Like say, I don't know, somebody's like, hey, I don't have the gas to get to your show. Like legit send those kids a gas card. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
In the mail, like just do things for your fans. And even at a bigger level, like there are people who still do that. The guy who came and talked to us from Public Image the other day, he was like legit for the first 400 people who bought tickets to our show or whatever, or it was like for like the people who bought the VIP pass or something. Like he sent them like the lineup for the show in a special package with like a bunch of stuff, and he gave them free Thanksgiving dinner the night before, and he put like candy in the package and stuff. Like just be personable.
That's something that I think Uncle Adams has just failed to do.
Oh
because,
yeah, he cut off his fans entirely.
Yeah.
It basically at every turn he's done something wrong. Like anything you can bring up, he's done something incredibly wrong.
No, he has made bad moves at every single turn he could have.
Yeah.
We're so fortunate to watch this happen. Sometimes,
Well, it's like watching a
Sometimes-
train wreck. You can't look away.
well, no, but like sometimes I think that like there comes a figure that, but unbeknownst to them or anyone else, they need to they serve as an example for the rest of the world, and Uncle Adams serves as an example for what not to do in the music industry.
I hope one day Uncle Adams goes down in the annals of history like Icarus did. Like
He's never gonna
I don't think Uncle Adams got anywhere close to the sun.
no, he didn't get anywhere near the sun. But I mean,
He looked at the sun and he got blinded immediately.
Uncle
Yeah,
Adams,
that was about
a
it.
great Canadian folktale.
Yeah. All right.
Hey, can we call the podcast this episode of the podcast?
The Great Canadian Folks. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right,
Uncle
Ryan, you want to
Adams,
wrap
the
this
Great
up?
Canadian folktale.
Does anyone have any closing comments on Uncle Adams?
You know what? I really want to see him succeed. I really do.
Yep,
I
me
don't.
too.
I don't want to see him succeed doing what he's doing right now. I want him to learn and then succeed.
Yeah. Well, I want. Here's the
would
thing.
love
I
to see
feel,
him
I
figure his
empathize.
shit out.
I feel I empathize for Uncle Adams on the level that I don't like seeing a human being hurt. You know what I mean?
That's
Yeah.
a good way to put it, Christian.
But I feel insulted by the methods in the way he carries himself.
Yep. All right. Thank you guys for listening to however long this was once it was cut down.
It's 40. Yeah,
It's 35 right now, but I'm sure Jacob
It'll probably
will
be
cut
around
out
half
shit.
an hour.
Yeah. Yeah, join us in the next episode. Sorry we had the technical difficulties, but things should be more regular now. Yeah.
Follow Lampcast on Twitter.
Oh yeah, follow us on Twitter. Follow Christian and everybody on Twitter.
Go
Through there.
like our Facebook page. I post
Follow
something
me on
there once in a
Instagram.
while.
Oh yeah, follow Ethan on Instagram. Yeah. All right.
Follow me on Instagram.
Go to Ryan's website.
No, that's not on. That's not actually up on the internet.
Oh, are you
no.
serious?
Yeah, no.
I can't play fun and games. I can't go do the Ryan Bussey coloring book challenge.
Hey, listen, Christian, if you're not nice to me, I'll plug your info right into that template, and your website will look like that.
I kind of wanted. Doesn't that go with my aesthetic?
No.
Hey, just
It's down to a T. Doesn't it look like the the National like Resource Trust, like the fucking website for that, where